Hello, Michael Swain here after Kansas football's 38-21 win over Oklahoma State here inside of David Booth, Kansas Memorial Stadium, and that was a much needed win for Kansas and one that puts KU on the cusp of bowl eligibility. Look, it was not the prettiest game, especially in the first half with the way things went, but at the end of the day, getting a comfortable win against a really bad team, it was a much needed thing for Kansas to bounce back after back-to-back 25-point defeats. Cleanses the palate a little bit. And look, let's get right into this, because this is not going to be our longest video ever, because there's not really a whole lot to discuss. First half, kind of weird, right? It was one of those ball control halves, very much what you feel like sometimes in the second half of games that KU's played in, where there's two possessions for both teams, and obviously KU's offense scores on both of its possessions. Granted, a field goal drive that is pretty frustrating if you go back and look at the tape. KU gets the explosive play from Bryson Canty, then there's a screen pass to Cam Pickett that's a negative play, then KU on second and long runs the ball, that's another tackle for a loss, and then Jalen Daniels overthrows a receiver. It was one of those where early in the game it's oh man, Kansas is down 7-0. There's a field goal drive. Like, it was not a great start to the game for KU. And obviously then from then on, really the offense bounces back and has a pretty good game overall. We'll talk more about the run game in the second half later. But defensively for KU, I think one of the concerns I have coming out of this game is just the fact that the inconsistency continues. You look at the first drive, Oklahoma State's offense has been really bad. And look, the context here matters. Oklahoma State finally got away from having to play a former wide receiver at quarterback. Zane Flores started at QB. Obviously not the best quarterback KU's played this year, but he's still a competent starting quarterback. And he moved the ball on the first drive of the game against the KU defense, and that was a concerning thing. And even going into the second half, right, Oklahoma State in this game puts up 21 points. It's a game that, realistically, if you're thinking about it going in, Oklahoma State should probably put up maybe 10 points. And the fact that KU, again, just the inconsistency of some drives, that they fit the run, they're in the right spots, they get the pass breakups. And then other times, guys are just wide open. And look, Flores made some good throws. Right? I think there are two of them going that direction. I'm sitting up in the press box back there, and you have a good angle, and you're like, whoa, how did he fit that throw in? You tip your hat there. But there's still inconsistencies within that, and that for me is probably the biggest concern I have looking at the final three games of the season. Right, KU's going to have to find some consistency defensively, or else Arizona's going to put up 35-plus points. Iowa State's going to put up points. Utah's certainly going to put up points. So consistency is going to be something Kansas has to find over this final stretch to reach bowl eligibility. Now, offensively for KU, the most encouraging part of this game is the run game. You can look at Oklahoma State. Since Clint Bowen took over as DC, they're allowing 100 fewer yards per game than they were before. It's about 110 per game, I believe, over the last 4 games coming into this one. KU, on the other hand, has had some major struggles running the ball. Really, you can look at UCF, you can look at Texas Tech, you can look at Kansas State. KU is not able to run the ball consistently. What happens today is KU has its best rushing performance overall since the West Virginia game. KU rushes for 232 yards total in this game. And again, keep in mind that Oklahoma State of late had been allowing about 105. So you can look at it, right? LeSean Williams has the 10 straight carries. I can't say I've ever seen that in a game before. 10 straight runs to the same player on the same drive. It resulted in a touchdown, but KU was just able to run the ball better overall. You finally saw KU get an explosive run from Isaiah Marshall, of all people. I thought Daniel Highshaw, you guys can tell me what you saw on TV, or if you're in the game too, but Highshaw looks like he's got some juice again after having some of the injury niggles early in the season. Man, it really looks like he's running about as fast as I've seen him run in a while. So in this game, for the offense, I think the run game coming out of this is a positive, and it's got to continue because you can't rely on Jalen Daniels to be Superman every single game. And I think even today, Jalen did not have his best game. There were some times, especially I think it was the first half, where it seemed like he wasn't seeing the field super well. There were a couple times Cam Pickett's wide open. He goes to more covered receivers. Look, Jalen's had a great year, and KU's going to need him to be awesome over these final 3 games. But over the last 2-3 games, it seems like the level has gone from being an A+ to being probably a B+ now. And that's perfectly fine. But you need your defense to step up too. And I think that's the thing now is you got to ask, is this defense going to be consistent? And can Jalen play at a high level? And can KU run the ball? If all those things come together, KU will win one more game or more. But then you ask yourself, how realistic is that going to be to happen? So overall, those are kind of my thoughts. Latham Marjan continues to be really good. set the school record for most consecutive field goals made. What a revelation he's been. Obviously, Bryson Canty getting his first touchdown as a Jayhawk. Man, I was really high on him going into the year, and I really thought he was going to have a really good year when he committed. Obviously, the injury really slowed him down, but now he's starting to make an impact consistently. So it'll be interesting to see how he does over the final few games of the season. So those are my thoughts. Look, there's all to play for Kansas. It's a 3-game season now. You got to go get one more, if not more. And if not, then it's going to go down as a disappointing season. So plenty to play for, much needed win for Kansas. Still questions that you got to have in the back of your head about the final 3 games. So that's what I got for you. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and make sure you head over to fog.net for all sorts of Kansas coverage. That's what I got for you. We'll talk to you all on Sunday with the podcast with Kevin Flaherty.